When you walk through the breakfast aisle at the supermarket, it feels overwhelming, doesn't it? Colorful cereal boxes, whole grain labels, heart-healthy stamps, protein bars, oatmeal packets, fruit smoothies, low-fat yogurts, toast options, granola, fresh juices. It all looks healthy, but here's what most people over 65 don't realize. The majority of these healthy breakfast foods are quietly draining your energy instead of building it, and if you've been feeling tired by 10 a.m., foggy before lunch, or frustrated by stubborn belly weight, your breakfast may be the hidden reason. I'm Dr. Christina Serrati, and today I want to gently walk you through something that could completely change how you feel each morning. A breakfast was never meant to be dessert. Its real purpose is simple: to break your overnight fast and provide steady, stable fuel for your muscles, brain, and metabolism. But food manufacturers discovered something powerful years ago: we crave sweetness and convenience. So they reshaped breakfast into something quick, sugary, and ultra-processed. Grains were pulverized. Fiber was stripped. Natural fats were removed. And in their place? Added sugars, refined oils, artificial flavors, stabilizers. The result? Quick blood sugar spikes, a mid-morning crashes, the increased inflammation, a muscle loss, acceleration, a brain fog, fat storage around the midsection. And after 65, our bodies simply don't recover from those spikes the way they once did. Insulin sensitivity decreases with age. Muscle protein breakdown increases. Inflammatory processes become more active. That means the wrong breakfast doesn't just make you tired. It actively works against healthy aging. In today's video, I'm going to show you the 4 worst breakfast choices that appear healthy but sabotage energy, why they create blood sugar chaos, and 4 science-supported breakfasts that help protect muscle, brain, and metabolism after 65. And please stay with me, because the number 1 best breakfast we'll discuss uses a specific nutrient combination shown in research to support muscle preservation as we age. Before we continue, I'd love to know, how old are you, and what have you been eating for breakfast this past week? Share in the comments. I genuinely read them, and I love seeing what's working, and what might need adjusting. Now let's begin with something very common. Something many people feel proud to eat. Number 4 on our avoid list. A breakfast that looks responsible, but hides more sugar than most people realize. Let's start with a breakfast that almost everyone believes is a smart choice: cereal. Not the brightly colored children's cereal. I'm talking about the adult versions. The boxes that say, whole grain, a high fiber, heart healthy, supports cholesterol and natural energy. It sounds responsible, mature, safe, but here's what many of my patients don't realize. Even many so-called healthy cereals behave almost like white bread once they enter your body. Let me explain gently. Most boxed cereals, even whole grain ones, go through a manufacturing process called extrusion. The grains are ground into flour, mixed, pressurized, heated at very high temperatures, and reshaped into flakes or puffs. This processing breaks apart the natural structure of the grain, and once that structure is damaged, your body digests it rapidly. That means glucose enters your bloodstream quickly, blood sugar rises sharply, insulin surges, and after 65, that spike and crash cycle hits much harder than it did at 40. You may notice it as sudden fatigue around 10 a.m., shakiness, irritability, brain fog, cravings for something sweet. This isn't a willpower problem. It's biology. Now, here's the second issue: turn the box around. Look at the ingredient list, not just the marketing on the front. You'll often find sugar, brown rice syrup, a corn syrup, honey cane juice, malt syrup. Many healthy cereals contain 12 to 20 grams of added sugar per serving, and let's be honest, most people pour more than 1 serving into the bowl. That means your healthy breakfast may contain as much sugar as a dessert. Then there's granola. Granola sounds natural, right? But many store-bought versions are coated in syrups and baked in refined vegetable oils like soybean or sunflower oil. Those crunchy clusters are often held together with sugar. So instead of a slow, nourishing start to your day, you get a metabolic roller coaster. I once worked with a 71-year-old woman who prided herself on eating Raisin Bran every morning. She believed the fiber made it perfect, yet she was exhausted by mid-morning every day. When we examined the label, her bowl contained nearly 25 grams of sugar. Before adding milk. We shifted her breakfast toward higher protein and less processed carbohydrates. Within 2 weeks, her morning crashes disappeared. The lesson? Never judge a food by the front of the package after 65. Protecting stable blood sugar is one of the most powerful things you can do for brain clarity. Fat controls inflammation reduction and muscle preservation, and most cereals, even the healthy ones, simply don't support that goal. Now let's move to another breakfast that seems harmless, simple, traditional, but often just as destabilizing. Now let's talk about something that feels completely harmless: toast. 2 slices. Maybe whole wheat. Maybe multigrain. A little jam. Maybe margarine. Simple. Familiar. Easy, but after 65, this type of breakfast often works against your energy instead of supporting it. Let's break it down calmly. Even when bread says 100% whole wheat, it is still made from flour, which means the grain has been ground into very fine particles. When grains are pulverized like that, your body absorbs them much faster compared to intact grains like steel-cut oats or quinoa. So what happens? Blood sugar rises quickly, insulin follows, then a few hours later, crash. And here's where it becomes more concerning: most people don't eat plain dry toast, they add jam, jelly, marmalade, or fruit spread. That layer is concentrated sugar, often high in fructose. Fructose is processed primarily in the liver. In small amounts within whole fruit, it's fine because fiber slows absorption, but in jam? There's almost no fiber buffer. So now your breakfast becomes refined carbohydrate plus concentrated sugar. That's a recipe for mid-morning fatigue, increased belly fat storage, brain fog, cravings. Now let's talk about spreads. Many margarines and vegetable oil spreads are made from highly refined omega-6 oils like soybean, corn, or safflower oil. Our bodies need some omega-6 fats, but modern diets already contain excessive amounts. Too much omega-6 relative to omega-3 can promote inflammation, and inflammation after 65 is not just about joints. It affects brain clarity, muscle recovery, cardiovascular health, insulin sensitivity. But perhaps the biggest problem with a toast-based breakfast is what's missing: protein. Morning protein intake is absolutely critical after 65. Why? Because muscle breakdown accelerates with age, especially overnight. If your first meal contains mostly carbohydrates and very little protein, your muscles remain in a catabolic state longer. That contributes to gradual muscle loss, what we medically call sarcopenia. And muscle is not just for strength, muscle helps regulate blood sugar. It protects metabolism. It supports balance and fall prevention. I once spoke with a 75-year-old gentleman who ate 2 slices of whole wheat toast with margarine and orange jam every morning. He believed it was healthy because it wasn't white bread, yet he struggled with mental fog until lunchtime. We added protein, eggs, and some healthy fats, and within weeks, he reported sharper focus and more stable energy. Toast isn't evil, but relying on it as your main breakfast, especially with sugary toppings, is simply not enough nourishment for the aging body. Now let's move to something that looks even healthier: bright, fresh, full of vitamins, and surprisingly disruptive to blood sugar. Now let's talk about one of the most misunderstood breakfast choices: fruit juice. Or that healthy smoothie you grab after your morning walk. It looks fresh. It says 100% juice. It's packed with vitamin C. It feels clean and natural, but here's what most people over 65 don't realize. When you drink fruit instead of eating it, your body handles it completely differently. Let me explain gently. When you eat a whole orange, apple, or handful of berries, the natural sugars are surrounded by fiber. That fiber slows digestion. It creates a gradual rise in blood sugar. It protects your insulin response. But when fruit is juiced, the fiber is removed. What remains is concentrated liquid sugar. Yes, it's natural sugar, but metabolically, it behaves very similarly to soda. Once it's separated from fiber. It enters the bloodstream rapidly. Blood sugar spikes, insulin surges, and after 65, your body does not regulate that surge as efficiently as it once did. Then comes the crash. You may notice sudden tiredness, shakiness, irritability, mental fog, hunger shortly after. And there's something else many people don't realize: the primary sugar in fruit is fructose. In whole fruit, small amounts are perfectly fine. But in juice form, fructose hits the liver quickly and in large doses. Over time, repeated high fructose intake can contribute to elevated triglycerides, increased liver fat, greater belly fat storage. Now let's talk about store-bought smoothies. They're often marketed as wellness drinks, but many contain fruit juice concentrates, sweetened yogurt, sherbet added syrups. A large portions of high-sugar fruits, some contain 40 to 60 grams of sugar in a single serving. That's more than many desserts, and because it's liquid, it doesn't create the same fullness signals as solid food. I once worked with a 69-year-old woman who swam every morning. She believed her large orange juice and smoothie were perfect recovery nutrition, yet she struggled with fatigue and stubborn weight gain. We made one simple change: she switched from juice to water, ate whole fruit instead, and added protein at breakfast. Within weeks, her energy stabilized dramatically. Her cravings decreased. Her afternoon fatigue nearly disappeared. The lesson here is not to fear fruit. Whole fruit is wonderful, but drinking large amounts of fruit sugar on an empty stomach, especially without protein or fat, creates a metabolic roller coaster. And after 65, stability is everything. Now we're about to discuss what might surprise you the most. A breakfast food that has been marketed for decades as the healthy choice: light, low-fat, weight-friendly, but metabolically deeply misleading. This one surprises almost everyone. Low-fat flavored yogurt. For decades, it has been marketed as the gold standard of healthy eating. It's light. It's portion-controlled. It contains calcium. It often says probiotic on the label, and many people over 65 choose it daily, believing they're protecting their weight and bones. But here's the truth: low-fat flavored yogurt is often closer to dessert than to a balanced breakfast. Let me explain why. When manufacturers remove the natural dairy fat from yogurt, they remove what gives it richness, texture, and satiety. Fat is what helps you feel full. Fat slows digestion. Fat stabilizes blood sugar. Without it, yogurt tastes thin and sour. So what do food companies do? They add sugar. A typical small container of flavored low-fat yogurt can contain anywhere from 15 to 25 grams of sugar. That's nearly the same as a candy bar, and because there's little fat to slow absorption, that sugar hits your bloodstream quickly. Blood sugar spikes, insulin rises, then comes the crash. And here's something even more concerning: many of these yogurts don't just contain sugar, they contain artificial sweeteners instead: aspartame, sucralose, acesulfame, potassium. Emerging research suggests these sweeteners may disrupt the gut microbiome, the community of bacteria that influences digestion, immunity, inflammation, and even mood. After 65, gut health becomes extremely important. Your microbiome affects nutrient absorption, immune resilience, brain clarity, inflammation levels. Disturbing that delicate balance daily is not ideal. There's also another overlooked issue: fat helps absorb fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin D. When you remove dairy fat, you reduce the body's ability to fully utilize those nutrients, even if they're added back in. I once worked with a 72-year-old woman who ate flavored light yogurt every single morning. She believed it was essential for weight control, yet she struggled with bloating and fatigue. When we reviewed the label, her yogurt contained more sugar than she realized, and artificial sweeteners on top of that. We transitioned her to plain, full-fat Greek yogurt with fresh berries and seeds. Within weeks, her digestion improved, her energy stabilized, and she actually felt fuller for longer. Here's the key principle: low-fat does not mean low impact. Often, it simply means higher sugar. And after 65, protecting muscle, metabolism, and blood sugar stability is far more important than chasing low-fat labels. Now that we've gently cleared away the 4 breakfasts that may be quietly draining your energy, it's time for the empowering part: the breakfasts that actually support muscle preservation, brain clarity, stable blood sugar, long-lasting energy. And the first one is something many of you already enjoy, but may not be using strategically. Now, we move into the nourishing side of this conversation, and I want to start with something beautifully simple: eggs. For years, eggs were unfairly criticized because of cholesterol fears. Many people over 65 still hesitate because they were told decades ago to avoid the yolk, but modern research has clarified something very important. For most people, dietary cholesterol has very little effect on blood cholesterol levels. What matters far more is overall metabolic health, inflammation, and blood sugar control. And nutritionally speaking, eggs are one of the most complete foods you can eat in the morning. Let me explain why they are especially powerful after 65. First, protein quality. Eggs contain highly bioavailable, complete protein. That means they provide all essential amino acids in the ideal ratio for human muscle repair. As we age, our muscles become less responsive to protein, something called anabolic resistance. This means we actually need higher quality protein in the morning to stimulate muscle preservation. Eggs deliver exactly that point. 2 eggs provide about 12 grams of high quality protein. Along with leucine, the amino acid that signals muscle protein synthesis. Second, brain protection. Egg yolks are one of the richest sources of choline. Choline is essential for memory and nerve signaling. Brain cell membrane integrity. Many adults are mildly deficient in choline, and it becomes increasingly important as we age. Third, eye and bone support. Egg yolks contain lutein and zeaxanthin, antioxidants that support eye health and may reduce age-related macular degeneration risk. They also provide vitamin D, which supports bone strength and muscle function. Now here's the most important part: when you combine protein plus healthy fats plus fiber, you create metabolic stability. For example, scrambled eggs with sautéed spinach, an omelette with bell peppers, poached eggs with avocado slices. That combination slows digestion, prevents blood sugar spikes, and keeps you satisfied for hours. I once worked with a 77-year-old gentleman who switched from toast to 2 eggs cooked in olive oil with greens. He told me, for the first time in years, I don't feel desperate for a snack at 10 a.m. That's not magic. That's stable blood sugar and adequate protein signaling to the muscles. Now, eggs alone are wonderful, but they become even more powerful when paired strategically, and the next breakfast option we're about to discuss does something similar, while also supporting gut health. Now let's revisit yogurt, but this time, the right kind: plain, unsweetened, full-fat Greek yogurt or Icelandic skyr. When chosen correctly, this becomes one of the most powerful breakfasts for adults over 65. Here's why. First, protein density. Greek yogurt and skyr are strained, which removes much of the liquid whey and concentrates the protein. 1 serving can provide 15 to 20 grams of high-quality protein. That's significant. Remember what we discussed earlier: after 65, muscle preservation requires intentional protein intake, especially in the morning when your body has been fasting overnight. This protein helps stimulate muscle protein synthesis, reduce muscle breakdown, and improve satiety, stabilize blood sugar. Second, healthy fats. Choosing the full-fat version matters. Natural dairy fat slows digestion, improves satiety, and helps absorb fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin D. It also prevents the sharp glucose spike that low-fat sweetened versions often create. Third, gut microbiome support. Live-active cultures in yogurt contribute beneficial bacteria to your digestive system, and after 65, gut health influences far more than just digestion. It affects immune strength, the inflammation levels, and mood stability and nutrient absorption. But here is the critical part: what you add on top determines whether this breakfast supports your health or sabotages it. Instead of sugary granola or honey, try this: fresh berries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, a tablespoon of ground flaxseed or chia seeds, a small handful of walnuts or almonds. This combination adds fiber, omega-3 fats, antioxidants, and magnesium. Now, you've created a breakfast that supports muscle, brain, gut, and metabolic stability, all in one bowl. I once guided a 79-year-old woman who struggled with irregular digestion and low energy. She began eating plain full-fat Greek yogurt with blueberries and ground flaxseed each morning. Within weeks, she reported more consistent digestion, fewer cravings, better sustained energy. It was a simple shift, but profoundly effective. The key lesson here is this: don't fear natural fat, fear added sugar. Now we're moving to a breakfast many people already enjoy, but often prepare incorrectly. When done right, it becomes one of the most heart-supportive and blood sugar-friendly options available. Oatmeal has been a breakfast classic for generations, and when prepared correctly, it truly deserves its reputation. But there's a big difference between instant sugary packets and properly prepared whole oats. If you want oatmeal to support your energy after 65, here's what matters. First, choose the right type. Steel-cut oats or old-fashioned rolled oats are far superior to instant oats. Why? Because they are less processed, their fiber structure remains more intact, which slows digestion and creates a gradual release of glucose into the bloodstream. That means no sharp sugar spike, no rapid insulin surge, and no mid-morning crash. Oats also contain a special soluble fiber called beta-glucan. Beta-glucan has been studied extensively for its ability to support healthy cholesterol levels. Improve heart health. They enhance gut bacteria balance, but here's where many people go wrong. Oats alone are mostly carbohydrates. If you eat a plain bowl of oatmeal, even steel cut, without protein or fat, blood sugar can still rise too quickly. So we upgrade it. Here's how I recommend preparing it. Cook your oats in unsweetened milk, dairy or fortified soy/pea milk, or half milk, half water. This adds protein immediately. Then stir in one of the following near the end of cooking: a scoop of unflavored protein powder, collagen peptides, egg whites. They cook in and make it creamy. Now you've transformed it into a muscle-supportive breakfast. Then add healthy fats: almond butter, chopped walnuts, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds. These slow digestion further and support satiety. If you'd like sweetness, add a small handful of berries, cinnamon. Avoid brown sugar, maple syrup, or large amounts of banana. I once worked with a 73-year-old man who loved oatmeal but complained of feeling shaky by 11 a.m. He was eating instant flavored packets. We switched him to steel-cut oats with protein and nuts. Within weeks, his blood sugar readings improved, and his morning hunger disappeared. The principle is simple: slow carbohydrates plus protein plus healthy fats equals stable energy. Now we've arrived at the most powerful option of all. The breakfast that research increasingly supports for preserving muscle mass, supporting metabolism, and delivering targeted nutrition efficiently, especially for those who may not have a large appetite in the morning, and this final option might surprise you. Now we've arrived at the most strategic breakfast of all. A properly designed protein smoothie, not the sugary fruit blends sold in stores, not the dessert-style shakes loaded with syrups. I'm talking about a carefully structured smoothie that delivers exactly what your body needs after 65. Here's why this option stands out. After an overnight fast, your muscles are in a breakdown state. If you delay protein intake, or eat mostly carbohydrates, muscle loss continues, and after 65, preserving muscle is non-negotiable. Muscle protects, balanced blood sugar controls metabolism. Independence research consistently shows that consuming 20 to 30 grams of high-quality protein in the morning significantly improves muscle protein synthesis in older adults. A smoothie makes that easy. Here's the simple formula I recommend. First, protein base, 20 to 30 grams. Choose one: whey isolate, highly bioavailable, a high-quality plant protein blend, a plain Greek yogurt or skyr kefir. This becomes the muscle trigger. Second, fiber support. Add a handful of spinach, you won't taste it, or kales, 1 tablespoon chia seeds or ground flax seed. This slows absorption and supports gut health. Third, healthy fat. Include 1/4 avocado or 1 tablespoon almond butter or walnuts. This improves satiety and nutrient absorption. Fourth, liquid base use: unsweetened almond milk, irregular milk, if tolerated, fortified soy or pea milk, or simply water. Avoid fruit juice, optional, low sugar fruit if desired. Add 1/4 cup berries. Avoid large bananas, mango, pineapple, or juice concentrates. This formula delivers stable blood sugar, a high muscle stimulation, a gut support, long-lasting energy, a minimal insulin disruption. Many of my patients who struggle with appetite in the morning find this to be the easiest way to nourish themselves properly. One woman in her early 70s told me, "For the first time, I feel steady until lunch. No crash. No cravings." That's metabolic stability. Now let's zoom out for a moment. After 65, your breakfast should not be quick sugar, low-fat marketing, processed grains. It should be protein-focused, fiber-supported, fat-balanced, blood sugar stable. That first meal sends a powerful signal to your body. It tells your muscles whether to preserve or decline. It tells your brain whether to stay sharp or foggy. It tells your metabolism whether to store fat or burn efficiently. You don't need perfection, you need consistency. Now I'd love to ask you, which of these best breakfast options feels most doable for you? Eggs, Greek yogurt bowl, upgraded oats, or the protein smoothie? Tell me in the comments. I truly enjoy reading them. And if this helped you, please like the video and subscribe. In our next discussion, we'll talk about simple daily habits that support balance and reduce fall risk at home. Until then, take care of your body, it's been carrying you beautifully for decades. Dr. Christina Serrati.